I'm just happy I got that name right. So, yes, we were talking about building a community, a plant-based community, and that's what you do, among other things.
Yes.
You're a woman of many talents, and so yes, just kind of let's get back into again, like your experiences with building this community.
Oh, you want me to talk about like what it's been like, or
I mean,
what
yes,
we
the good, the bad, and the
do,
ugly.
where we go? No, it's been amazing. I was talking about how I started the music group because I wanted to learn other people, and we're at like 2,700. And there's still people who don't know that we exist. It's just kind of been like trying to make myself as visible as possible,
Wait a second, we have a
so that
call.
people can.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Yes,
hey,
ladies and gentlemen, we have Candace on the line. Say hey to everybody.
hi,
Look at her
Hi,
sounding all
Candace.
shy.
hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, good, good.
So, Naliaka was just telling us about, her experience with building this community kind of from the ground up, and that she came up with the NYC Vegans of Color. Naliaka, please proceed.
Oh yeah. So I was just talking about basically building the community and figuring out events, and it's been amazing. Our first meetup was well attended. It started off as a potluck. It ended off with a full train line. I was just like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, just a bunch of strangers who do not know each other at all, who are just coming together over some food and went off in a soul train line. And it's so funny because we have like a couple of white people in the group. In the description, I say it's open to everybody, but obviously this is a space for people who identify as people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just there's just something different. I don't know what it is. There's something distinct about this group, that's different than the other groups that I've attended. And I think it's just because I try to create a space that's very open and welcoming and accepting. And it was like how you were saying earlier, some people, especially people who identify as vegan, can be really judgmental, and it could be a little bit difficult to try to enter that community without knowing everything. When I became vegan, I didn't know everything. I didn't know anything about honey. I didn't know anything about leather. I didn't know about like certain secret ingredients that might have like animals in it, and you have no idea because you don't know how to read labels. There were so many things that I didn't know. And it's just so helpful to be around people who are accepting, who are willing to show you and educate you. And I still have a lot of learning to do. I'm still talking to other people and learning what I need to learn and doing what I can do. But my goal with the community that I'm creating is basically just to do that, is to create community. Like, that's it. How can we create a community to support you in living this lifestyle, or at least to give you a glimpse, so you can decide for yourself, this is something I can do. Um, and whenever someone tells me, every time if someone hits me up on Facebook or texts me, hey, I'm thinking about going to vegan, I'm thinking about doing this for 2 weeks, what should I do? And I always tell them, come to one of my events, because you're going to be eating good food, and you're going to meet people who were exactly where you were not that long ago.
Indeed, and that's a lot of times what people need. I mean, again, again, just to bring you up to speed. I mean, Naliaka kind of just started. She went vegan on pretty much a dare, and did it for 3 months, and kind of just didn't look back for the most part. And when it came time for family functions and other things like that, she kind of felt isolated. So she decided to just randomly, put together a group, and it was just well received, and it kind of spread like wildfire. It went from 300 to what, 2,700
Yeah,
roughly.
27. Like every day, the number's probably different right now. Like every day, the number changes. I have no idea. People will be texting me like, "Congratulations on 25." I'm like, "What? What's happening? Oh yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome. There's definitely a benefit of being in the metro area, but at the same time, you have people like myself and Dwayne and people like Vegan News on Instagram who come out and, they come out from the Bronx, they come out from people from Jersey. It was so crazy. And everybody is pretty welcoming. There was times where I was just like, all right, let me bite the bullet and speak to people and even like especially bonding over food. That's what we do as a community anyway. That's what a lot of communities do, period. So then you go, I remember it was Miss Lee there. And people, not only are they vegans, they have different talents. And I feel like, so for one, I went up to Miss Lee and I was like, what is in these fritters? And we sat there and we talked about
Right?
baby and we talked about the food. Yeah, and he wasn't judgmental. And then we were like, okay, so who made this? And, where do you come from? And, how long were you vegan? And I even asked him if he wore deodorant. And he wasn't even, he was not pressed at all. So then, I'm
Yeah.
talking around. There's some people that are not vegan that were there who were just like, yeah, I'm interested. Or, yeah, I'm like this much percent. Or I'm trying to do this. And on top of that, I feel like people who live this lifestyle, like on top of building community, especially like from my standpoint as a single mom who lost weight and who's trying to be in like great shape, um, there's people who can relate to that, or there's people who are just doing great things in their life in other aspects. You tend to take care of other things when you take care of your health. You know what I mean? It's a holistic
Mhm.
standpoint. So these people are like artists, you know, people from Ivy League schools, like not gonna call people out. People are doing amazing things, and not only are they doing amazing things, they're folks of the same background as we are. People from the same
Exactly.
from some of the same backgrounds. And there's a lot of people who do it. And that I was with the Lexus Solange album, people will say, "Oh, well, it's not inclusive," or we've always known a broader history from people who are not minorities. So a lot of the times, minorities want to get together and be around people who can relate to their experiences.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So especially when people say veganism is not for Black folks, and we're out there with Black folks eating more than what people think. The food was amazing. There was so much more food than you find at a regular barbecue. I'm talking about the barbecue that we went to at one of the beaches over the summer, but I mean last month. But yeah, we were eating and we had our it was great vibes, great people, great food, great music. I really felt at ease.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's really my goal is to this summer. That was probably the largest thing I've ever done in my entire life. That was the largest event I've ever, you know, had. Obviously, I had a lot of help,
Mhm.
but that was like the biggest thing that I've ever organized. And my goal this summer, like intentionally, was what can I do to help people who are dealing with barbecues, Memorial Day. We got Labor Day. You have the family reunion. You have 4th of July. All these people who identify as plant-based or even vegetarians, people who don't eat meat, um, they're constantly going to be in situations over the summer where they're not going to know what to do or what to bring or how to cook or how to be. So I was like, I think I need to create several events where they don't have to feel that way, where they can come and feel like, oh, well, this is what I can do. This is what it's like to be at a barbecue without meat. This is what it's like to be around people who I would call my family without meat. This is what I can make. This is what I can bring. And so that's really been my goal. And it's been really amazing because I met somebody who works with an organization that's also trying to spread the word. And when she found out that's what I was doing, she was like, well, can you help me do a cooking series? Let's go out into the communities and teach people how to do this because I think it's so stifling for people to be in situations where they don't know what to eat or they don't know what to bring. And I hear this all the time. I fell off the wagon. I ate meat. I was at the family reunion. I had to do this. And people just don't know what to do or how to be in those situations.
A girl said to me today, she's like, "Oh, at least I won't be tempted for the holidays, or like I'll know what to do for the holidays. And it's like temptation, if you're, at least for me, temptation is going to be there. It's just stuff that you spent however long your life is growing up on. So temptation is going to be there. For me, it's about being prepared. So I think we can better show people. I'm really surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised that a lot of people don't know, or they're like, well, I have to give up this, and I have no options, and I'm not going to have any flavor. I'm going to have to eat salads. And I'm surprised that people are kind of ignorant in that way. But I mean, at least they're asking, and at least now we have educated ourselves, and we know, and we can help other people. That's what it's about. And if you come prepared, you'll be less tempted.
Right. And that's the benefit of a community, because you'll have support around that.
Mhm.
Indeed. I mean, yeah, that's good stuff. And I think one of the things when we first went to the VBQ, I was like, we're going to meet so many different people, and it's going to be such a great networking opportunity, and you never know who does what. This person may be tied into this person may be tied into that. I mean, I found out about the show from someone that I do a podcast with. My friend Daryl, there was an event that you were doing before the BBQ. I believe it was you were going to some sort of restaurant, a vegan restaurant, and I was going to go, but I was going to be there late. And he was like, she doesn't play with that late stuff, so you might as well just not go.
I know. I get respect, because, I work in the service industry, and I've been a server. Yes, I don't play with lateness if we're going to someone else's establishment. And, I think a lot of that is maybe me kind of projecting how others view specifically that actually me, being late or not being, all the stereotypes. And so if I'm doing something in a restaurant, or even any restaurant, we have to be on time, we're going to do what we say we're going to do, we're going to show up, and we're going to shut, because we're not going to be invited anymore. And my goal is to sort of show people that there are people of color who are interested in eating this food. You don't have to market to only white people, especially restaurants of color. If there's a new Mexican restaurant, a black restaurant, a freaking Jamaican restaurant, like, I want to be there. I want to be there, and I want to bring people of color to show them, listen, you don't have to cater to these white people. We're going to come here and we're going to support you, but we're going to come correct.
Indeed. That actually reminds me, we'll talk off air about this, but there's just actually this restaurant I was looking at, and I'm going to try it out first to make sure, the food is good. I heard it was, but, you gotta see things out for yourself. But I think that'd probably be a good thing to throw one of your events at. I think they're just starting up. They're black owned, and I think it would be a very.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Juice and Gems. It's in Hollis.
Juice and Gems.
Mm-hmm.
I like that name. It's funny what you're saying. I started another group called what is it called? It's called Vegan Chefs of the Diaspora, and the idea of this group is for people who are in the food service industry, bloggers, people who are foodies, chefs, anybody who's interested or obsessed with food, basically, to sort of find restaurants, whether they're of color or not, but ideally, new restaurants of color, and support them and let them know, hey, this is great, or this kind of sucks. And I feel like, when you go online, because I have to read a lot of reviews. If I'm picking a place, I have to talk to a lot of people, I have to read a lot of reviews. I'm not going to invite 20 people to a restaurant that sucks, right?
Right.
And so I started to realize that, like, and maybe this is me projecting or assuming, so this is just my opinion, but I feel like a lot of these restaurants aren't really thinking about people of color as their audience, specifically black people as their audience. Because, veganism kind of has this sort of whiteness on it. And so even ethnic restaurants are kind of like catering towards a white audience. And I want to show people, like, listen, we're here, and we want to try this. And we're going to tell you if it sucks, and we're going to tell you if it's great. And you know, you need to think about us as well when you're designing